Let's rock.
Hello, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. And let's rock.
Okay, can we get to these guys that are on your album? There's a couple guys that people might have heard of. So first you have Sherinian, Derek Sherinian. You're in tons of bands with him, so that's great. I think that's kind of expected now when you make an album. You got to have Sherinian.
It's ever since Sons of Apollo, Derek and I have been nearly inseparable as far as working together. So many things. Tons of studio stuff where we're playing on random people's stuff where I might just be mixing it or playing guitar on it. The bands that we've done, Sons of Apollo, Whom Gods Destroy, all the festivals we play together. We're going to be playing the Kennedy Center together on April 1st. And we're bringing in Tony Franklin and Vinny Appice. And then we're going to play again out in Europe end of April. And Dino Jalusic will join. And yeah, so we're constantly doing stuff. So that one song that Jerry is on, I had some just bullshit VST keys on it, and he heard it. He's like, "Oh, come on, you need a real B3 in there." And he sends over tracks. He's like, and I was like, "There you go, yeah." So he's on there. We mentioned Guthrie before and Kyle. So there's a few more names to mention. Yeah,
Other guy, what's his name? Brian May,
Brian something or other.
something like that. Dude, Brian May. What the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. He's
Well,
awesome.
when I was writing that song, by the time the song was written and recorded, and I'm just listening to it as I play it, because when I'm making songs, I always try to be the listener and just sit back and see where the instincts, where like everything feels like as a listener it wants to go, not as a player or anything. And as I would listen to it, it's like, there's so much harmony and melody, and I could hear Brian May in this. And if he's not in it, I would just be doing a very poor imitation. And it wouldn't be giving the song what it could be and what it deserves. It deserves the real thing. It deserves the best. So I asked him, I was like, "Do you want to play on this?" And he did. And it was the same with Steve Vai. On that song, I made that song. It had this, like, I almost pictured the old monster movies from the East, Gamera and Mothra and of course Godzilla. And like the dubstep voice throughout the thing. And when it breaks back into the song, I just pictured almost like an alien, not human type of guitar solo that kicks in. And I was like, yeah, I could make some weird noises and stuff, but there is one guy who is the king of making a guitar speak like an alien. So I asked Steve, and he did it, yeah, he threw it down. And then the song, like Funeral March, I originally wrote it for piano. It was going to be a piano thing, but as I just kept building on it, it became more and more, and I realized that the main melody really needed just a crying violin. So I thought of my favorite band, Thank You Scientist, and asked Ben. I was like, "You want to throw down some violin on this?" And he did. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, a couple things. One, is there a more recognizable guitar sound than Brian May ever?
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's just his phrasing, his tone, his approach, just his choices, his spirit, I would say his honesty. Like, you really, that's the thing is it's like a true, pure giving of oneself when they play. And it doesn't have to be like bleeding from the fingers and that kind of thing. It's just being genuine. And And he does that, and all the greats that do that is why they're great. Because you feel like you're truly getting their soul immersed in that music without it being guarded or held back or anything. They just do their thing, and it's magical. Yeah,
Now, did they record with you or did they record at home and send it to you?
yeah. Everybody does remotely. Kyle and Jerry, they did it here. Some stuff Kyle did from LA at different studios, like one or two songs. But the majority of it he did right in this room. Jerry did it in this room. Everyone else, they just recorded at their place and sent me the tracks. Yeah.
Now, there's another song on here. Hang on, I gotta find the name because I'm bad with names. Griggstown Crossing.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So I did a little research. It's apparently some kind of a bridge in New Jersey or something.
Griggstown is a town 5 minutes away from the studio. So that song, it reminds me of like a Southern rock song. Just, I picture sitting on the tour bus, just staring out the window. I've seen it a million times, just seeing the road and the trees and the houses and everything just flying by. And that is your just floating home that just takes you place to place. It's like you don't have a home, but you do. It's like this is your home, but you're not planted in the ground. And just that feeling of just staring out the window at it all.
I got a Joe Walsh Eaglesy kind of feeling out of that song.
Yes. And Griggstown is like one of the first towns when I'm leaving the studio and I'm hitting the road. It's one of the first places nearby that I'm saying goodbye to. And I started looking at all the towns in the area. Rocky Hill, Griggstown, New Brunswick, just thinking like which one is a name, and I started researching the towns too. Like the Griggs family, when they first got here and the canal and everything, and really just wanted to pick the right town, the first one that I would be leaving that's worth noting in some way when I hit the road. So it's like when you're leaving, once you're crossing Griggstown, I'm no longer home. And I'm on the road, and yeah. And I did one, that's another one that for the solo for that song, originally it was going to be a trade-off. And I was going to trade with someone, and then I was like, you know what, I knew the kind of guitar player that I wanted for that. And I was debating, I was like, I don't want a lot of guests on this thing, and I don't want it to become this, Bumblefoot and Friends. But the song seemed like it really it would benefit from Peter Frampton or Joe Walsh. Someone that does a talk box, that plays slide or just that does that thing. So I did reach out, and the response I got back is that the song sounds like it's already finished, and there's nothing to add to it. And I was like, okay.
From
So
who? Peter Frampton or Joe Walsh?
not Frampton, but Walsh. Yeah.
Oh,
So
really? It is a Walsh kind of thing. Okay.
and so if there was going to be another guest on it, it would have been him.
Wow.
But but once he responded that he felt like there was that it was like you don't need me. It sounds done. It's good. So no means no. And I'm not going to try and convince him otherwise and say, okay. So what I did is I got out my talk box and I got on the fretless and did fretless into a talk box and said, what kind of phrasing and vibe? And I just tried to channel what I love about them. So just that whole, and just made phrases that are kind of singable and really do have a voice to them. Just thinking of all the, wah, 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 One of the things that,
Right.
yeah, and just got into that mindset and just laid down a solo and but that'll always be a song that I listen to it and say, I wonder what he would have done.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. Now, here's something I've always wondered. Ever since, I mean, you're the same age as me, so you know this, but Satriani had Flying in a Blue Dream, right? And he had a song on it called the Mystical Potato Head Groove Thing. You remember that song? So,
Yeah.
ever since that day, I've always wondered how instrumental guitar players come up with song names
Ah.
because there's no word to correspond to the title, right? And you've
Mhm.
got some great names on this album. I did some research, by the way. So, Andalusia, I guess, is my love or something in Spain.
Well, okay.
Or, oh
It's
no, sorry. Sintaku is my love.
Cintaku is a word from Indonesia. It's a phrase, and it means my love. It's like a term of endearment. It's like hello, my love. It's like uh, yeah,
But
hello.
how do you come up with that for that song? That's
Oh,
that's what I
there's a
mean by
million ways that song titles happen. It could be something grossly offensive that you and your friends laugh about, so you name the song that, which I was very tempted to do. Like I was going to call the song Kentucky Popsicle, and if you look that up, you'll be very sorry you did. Like things like that. But I was like, you know what? I'm a grown up now. I got to be classy, right? It doesn't feel right. So, song titles. Simon in Space came from my cat. Planetary Lockdown, because it's the first thing we did when we were all stuck in a planetary lockdown. Moonshine Hootenanny. Now,
that's
that one, it's just, it feels like a kind of like a hootenanny, like a little kind of party. And I was watching a documentary at home on blues guitar players, and it was singing something from Lonnie Johnson. And it was something I hadn't heard before. And immediately I just got this burst of inspiration, and I grabbed my guitar, and without even thinking, immediately this riff just came right out of me. And then I was like, all right, add the next layer. And I thought of Raising Arizona, that
ah,
movie where that sing. So I was like, it needs that kind of voice to it. So like, and then just built the song from there. Just give it a stop and a little guitar riff and back to the thing. And another stop, another guitar riff, and then the change to the 4 chord. And then back to it morphs, and then 4 or 5, and then just some catchy little phrase as the chorus, like should do it here. And that's yeah, and then it just keeps expanding and going off in different directions and gets real weird and somehow finds its way back to itself. And so that one, it just felt like a hootenanny. And at some points, it felt like stumbling down the stairs. If you listen to verse 2, it's like, whoa. It's like, all right, it's a drunken hootenanny. Moonshine. And then I'm thinking of the rhythm. Boom, da, ba, 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 boom, ba, 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 moonshine, hootenanny, moonshine, hootenanny. There you go. So, moonshine, hootenanny. And then the Chopin one, that thing, it's a Chopin piece. Chopin already named it, and so that
that's
was
your only cover song.
yeah. And I'm such an idiot. Like when I was doing the artwork, I forgot that was like a cover, and I think in the artwork, like I didn't mention like written by Chopin, but I think people will kind of know that Chopin Waltz is written by
Yeah.
Chopin.
Isn't it public domain now after all those years, though?
It is, but still want to like give credit. Like if it says all songs written by, I don't want. Yeah,
It's got his name in the title, I'm pretty sure.
yeah. I should have put all other songs written by.
Yeah.
So then Monstruoso, going back to those
All
old
right.
monster movies, I was like, all right, if this was a monster, what would his name be? And yeah, Monstruoso. And then, whereas like Monstruoso 2, The Departure, when I was writing that song, I was trying different ideas, and then that whole part two, I was like, you know what, it doesn't quite fit the song. I'm going to put that to the side. And then after the song was finished, I was like, you know what, this would be a good like outro to the song. So I picture like with Godzilla's like slowly walking back into the ocean and slowly disappearing. That's what that song is.
Okay.
It's it's
So it's
that.
almost it's
Slowly
like
breaks
a
it.
it's like a movie in your head almost. You
Yeah,
can picture
totally.
that.
Chintaku, the melodies. Uh, that one, I was spending a lot of time in the Far East, and Indonesia has my favorite food. It's so spicy, delicious, and I just love the place. The people, the beaches, the everything. So it was almost like a dedication to that.
Okay.
So that one, Once and Forever. That was the final title to come up with. I was so just, I was putting so much pressure on myself. Like, this has to be the perfect title of this song. Like, and I couldn't, it was crippling. Like, I couldn't just come up with a song title for that. And finally, the artwork was waiting, everything. It just still said song 8, you know, TBD, to be determined. And so finally, I was like, I need to give this album to the manufacturers. All right, we need a song title. So I was just thinking about the mood of the song, which is, to me, it feels like a father dancing with his daughter when she's getting married, or like some kind of once in a lifetime, very special moment that you always look back on, like this is one of the highlights. That's what that song feels like to me. So I had a couple of ideas, and then I hit up Brian. I was like, which one do you like the best? And he liked Once and Forever. I was like, that's our title. Okay. And that's that one. Andalusia.
Lucio.
That is because I suck at flamenco, and it was my fake version of playing the flamenco guitar. And it's from that region of the world. So it's kind of like an intro into the next song, Anveshana, which is a word that's the song that Guthrie is on, and both of us were always into exploring and learning and growing and just really seeing what kind of limits we can push to with the guitar and what we can discover. And that's pretty much what that word means, is like the whole idea of like to learn, to discover. So there's that one. Now, Funeral March. That one, it was during the pandemic, and we were constantly surrounded and reminded and everything of just all the death around us. So that song just felt like an old, just marching in a funeral. I just picture people just slowly walking. You hear their footsteps in the gravel and the bell tolling, ding, boom, boom, the timpani, ding, and just like the saddest melody, that wailing violin. So that's what I pictured, is almost like a Louisiana funeral. And just an ode to everything that was going on. Yeah. Briggstown, being on the tour bus, just watching the world pass. Now, The Thread. That,
Yes.
okay. That song title, I am part of this email thread for like 10 years of all different guitar players and friends. I don't know if it's like 15 or 20 of us. And we just talk about random shit, whatever. So I was writing that song, and I had a different melody to it when I wrote it, different chords, and just the intro. And I knew that I stole it from somewhere, and I couldn't figure out where. It's like, this definitely, I couldn't have written this. It's too reminiscent of something, but I don't know what. So I figured I would bug my thread mates and ask them, what is this melody? And it was like this, it was kind of like this thing that went like, and they heard it like, that little change there. It's like it's something, and we couldn't figure out what it was until finally one of them said, I know what that is because I've actually played bass 100 times doing that song with Gary Moore. It is Parisian.
Welcome.
That was like shit. Okay. And it was from somewhere. Yeah, it was. Wait, I should really use this. Okay, now I'm just being stupid. So I went
Never
back
had
and
a youth solo on my channel here. This is great.
yeah, every interview should have a kazoo solo.
I agree. I agree.
It should be mandatory. It
Yeah,
should be.
I think I should put that in the contract now. Yeah. And then the last one is Liftoff. So I have a question about this. Is this a segue into the next album? Because Liftoff should be the beginning.
Right. So, okay, so just jumping back to let me finish with the thread.
Oh, right.
I showed it to them, the new melody. They said, "Oh, this is great. This is better. It's definitely it's not stolen from, not reminding of anything." And they gave me some more thoughts. So really, that song wouldn't have happened, and it wouldn't be what it is without their input. So I named it after them and called it the Thread,
Okay.
named after my thread mates. And then Liftoff is like a finale to me. It reminds me of when I'm watching Simon fall asleep on my lap, completely just till he's like completely out. It reminds me of he finished his adventures and he's lifting off from the final planet to go on to the next adventure in like a cryogenic sleep. And so it's like an end, but also the beginning of whatever's coming next. So
It is a segue. Woohoo! So that means there's going to be another album soon, hopefully.
So probably, I don't know about soon, but something. I guess you could say that the adventures they haven't ended yet, and there's gonna, there's more to come. I guess that's the idea is that it's a lullaby, it's a goodbye, but it's not an ending. It's,
Right.
an ending is simply the beginning of the next thing. So
Right. It's a cliffhanger.
kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
a little bit.
Rapid fire. Pew, 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 pew.
Okay, I'm going to give you like three or four rapid fire questions, super quick.
Oh, God.
They're
Okay.
super, and they're really, I guarantee one of these questions you've never had before.
All right, I'm ready. I got my
So
finger
first,
pick on.
yeah. Okay, so for Christmas this year, I got the Rolling Stone top 500 albums of all time. And I'm listening to them in order just to kind of learn about music that I've never heard before and stuff like that.
Mhm.
What's your go-to number one?
Oh God, one. I could give you like top 50, but one? Oh,
Just so you know, Rolling Stone was Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
really
Yeah.
interesting. Number one. Now
I
we're
don't
talking
remember
full
one.
albums here.
Full albums, yeah.
I might actually have to go, even though like this is going to be maybe a little debatable, but Magical Mystery Tour,
Oh,
because the
interesting.
one side of it, yeah, uh, Strawberry Fields, I Am the Walrus. There are things on there that I could not live without. So I'm going to go with that. Even though it could be Manowar Battle Hymns, it could be New England, the band from 1979 that Paul Stanley produced. It could be Yes Going for the One. There's so many albums I could pick, but I'm going to go with that one. Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm taking Van Halen one. I don't care what anyone says. That's my go-to. That's my
I
always
might pick Fair Warning, actually.
fair
But
one.
definitely a Van Halen would be in somewhere in that top list.
I,
Yeah.
I don't. I think they only have one album, and it's like number 300 or something. So this
I've
list is
seen
a little strange to me. But also, by the way, while you were talking, I looked up Kentucky Popsicle, and I'm really glad that you didn't name a song after that. And I'm really angry that you made me look up what that is. So yeah, thanks for that visual. Um,
it.
okay, I have a student. His name's
Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't have said a damn thing.
Yeah, Jimmy is learning how to play guitar, and he read somewhere that guitar players who fret with their left hand fingers are longer. They actually grow because of your stretching. So he wanted to know if your fingers on your left hand are longer than the fingers on your right hand.
No,
No? But you can probably stretch more with the left hand, right?
I don't. No, I mean,
Good. Okay.
if anything, I think I'm better with my other. Maybe I've played so much that it's actually stiffened up and getting arthritic. Uh, and this one keeps shaking. That's not a good sign.
So here's
But
okay. Now here's the question I think you've never had before. That one might have been a question you've never had before.
that was a question I've never had before.
Right on, you owe me $10. So where that comes from is I interviewed Steve Vai and I said, I think I have a question that you've never had before. And he said he'd give me $10 if it was true. And he had actually had the question.
So
But
did you owe him $10 or was it just a one-way thing?
no, it was just a one-way thing. So here's the question. Should pizza, leftover pizza, be cold or microwaved?
Okay, here's the thing. Cold pizza is absolutely fine, especially if you've been out till 4 in the morning and you wake up at noon and you're hungry and that's breakfast. Breakfast of champions. You can microwave it just to melt the cheese, but you're not doing justice to the crust. As a self-proclaimed East Coast pizza snob, I will say that if you're going to warm up your pizza, you do it in a toaster oven or even an air fryer works. But I would say toaster oven, of course, as men, we're going to be lazy. We're not going to put the tinfoil under it and the pizza's going to drip and we're going to have to clean out our toaster. But definitely, yeah, not a microwave. I mean, if you're lazy and you don't care about life or human beings or anything, then maybe the microwave, yeah, it's quick, it's easy, and yeah. But if you really care about the things that make life worth living, stick it in the fucking toaster.
I agree. That's exactly what I said. And you got to have a little Bumblefoot hot sauce on there, right? So a little plug
You
for you.
could, yeah.
So I got a little story to tell. I don't know. Do you have another interview soon or something?
Oh no, I'm good, man.
Okay, because the first time I went out, I bought some Bumblefucked.
Oh no.
And I didn't know Bumblefucked was the top level. I just saw it at the store and I bought it. And I put it on my nachos like I put on Frank's. I didn't know whether I wanted to kill you or congratulate you. Oh my God, that stuff is hot. So if you're using, it's great for spaghetti sauce. A couple
One
drops.
drop for a whole plate of food is all you
Yes.
need.
Yes.
It's
Don't
that hot. Yeah.
don't spread it on like ketchup on your hamburger. Yeah, you almost killed me, dude. Not even,
Apologies.
not even joking. But it is great. Okay,
I mean,
so are you touring on this album? Oh, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, I'm going to make another hot sauce to go along with this album. There's a few things still in the works to go with this album that aren't out yet. One is a video game. We have a free video game that we made, just a retro fun game that was supposed to come out with the single, a Simon in Space video game. Sadly, a few days before it was supposed to come out, Apple flagged it and said, we need to give this extra review before we allow it on the store, and they still haven't okayed it. But it is this fun little game, and let's see if I can show it to you. I'm going to flip the camera. It is another way to experience the music, where your game, you are Simon in the spaceship from the thing, and you just hold it down, and all the space mice come, and you get the power-up coins, and there's more of them. It's like an old retro. Now these things are shooting back at you, so there, got him. Get the power-up. There's another one. Look out, look out, look out, look out. Got him. There we go. All right. And now they're here, and this thing is shooting, and we gotta dodge, get the coins. I'm getting better. Look up here. We got the space mice. And they're shooting too. And he's down there. Ah. Okay, so that is just yet another thing that I just want this to be a really fun record release for people, not just, oh, it's on Spotify. There you go. No, the vinyl is filled with artwork. The second disc is clear with art on the fourth side. And there's, full color sleeves with both. The CD, instead of a stapled booklet, it unfolds into a big, square with art, and even doing cassette. And the cassette unfolds into this long strip of artwork on both sides. And we have the video game. There, I'm taking all the presets from my Helix guitar pedal that I use for all the guitar sounds, and those will be available at Line 6 Marketplace. So all the weird guitar sounds in these songs, you could download them into your Helix pedal if you have one, and you got those sounds. Transcribed the entire album, like every single track, backing track, every single thing, any string that vibrated. It's the musical notation, the tablature, the fingers, the picking, instructions on, okay, stick your finger here and hold it down with your nose while you pluck over here, and like all of that stuff. Wow. So that is going to come out. And now Deco Records, great record label, they are going to do my retail physical distro. So if you go into a record store and say, hey, do you got the Bumblefoot Returns album on vinyl? They'll say, no, but we can get it for you. And maybe they will have it. So have that. And they're partnered up with Cargo Records in the UK. So hopefully Cargo will take a bunch and make them available, easier to get overseas. And Deco is involved in the comic book world. So we're going to do a Bumblefoot comic book as well. And I'm going to do a hot sauce, Moonshine Hootenanny hot sauce.
Oh,
yeah, so all these things will be part of just this event of putting out this album.
Okay, so you earlier mentioned Kiss. Now you're making a comic book like Kiss. Are you putting your own blood into the ink?
Oh, not my own blood. I got to figure out what I could put in there that won't get me arrested. I got to think about that.
Didn't Kiss put their blood into the ink?
I think Gene Simmons put his blood in the red ink, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little
there might be laws against that now.
Probably.
Damn regulations. It's not like it was in the 70s and 80s.
But I guess the best place to go is just bumblefoot.com, right?
Yeah, bumblefoot.com. You could get everything there, find out what's going on. That's another thing, is revamped the website after 17 years, long overdue. Check out the discography section. It took weeks where any guitar guest solo that I did on anyone's music, hundreds of them, I have a list where it has the artist, the song, the album, any additional info, and a link to their Spotify so you could hear the song. Wow. So I did that for all the artists that I did a guest solo for, things where I did music for any video games or whatever else, links to that, to links to bands I've played in, the band section, my own stuff. What else? So much stuff on there. It's a very full discography section.
I'm looking at it right now. This is crazy. What? Dude, how many albums are you on?
Yeah.
Holy God. That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, so hopefully...
I was there yesterday. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, just if people go through like the produced by or guest appearance section, you might discover some interesting other artists that you dig. So I wanted to put that out there where people can hear those people, those other artists too.
Right, that's fantastic. There's a dude in Sweden that you played with. I've interviewed him too, Frederick Pill.
Yeah,
Pill.
He's wonderful, great guy. Yeah,
awesome guy. And also, I noticed you're there on the website. You can get signed vinyls.
Yeah, what I'm doing with that is because they all had to be pre-signed ahead of time before they go straight from the manufacturers to the warehouse where they're going to ship out. It's this whole system going on. So what we did is we made printouts of the vinyl cover of the CD cover, and I signed them and I numbered them in the corner, 1 of 100, 2 of 100 for the CDs, and then for the vinyl, 1 of 100, 2 of 100, up to 100 of them, and then ship those to the warehouse so that everyone who gets a signed CD will get the signed CD cover with it.
Okay. All right. Are you touring?
I'm doing a couple of things. I'm trying to stay away from touring. I'm sure I will be touring, but at this point, I'm trying to do more one-offs and events and things, teaching related things. Like I'm doing a rock and roll fantasy camp in LA in February, and doing another one in March in Florida, and there will be more of those to come for sure.
But
So, yeah,
actual tour behind the album, nothing.
yeah, as far as like sitting on the tour bus, going town to town, playing these songs,
No way.
it's not in the plan right now. I mean, plans always change, but right now, I'm looking more to produce other bands and to do a lot of teaching thing and do just one-off festivals and events and stuff like that, and less of the touring thing.
That makes, but it sucks for people who are not in LA or Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I still consider the Ottawa show you played when you were super sick as one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
that thing, oh my God. Uh, Now, was at that point, did I completely lose my voice where I was using
Yeah, you were using the Stephen Hawking type
the
thing.
Stephen Hawking app?
Yeah.
So here's a funny thing.
Thank
Now, I was with, for that show, I was with the Russ Dwarf guys.
right.
Yeah, like him and his solo band, and Rob, his bass player, and everything. And we were all traveling together, and thank God I didn't get them all sick. But I just saw them again. We just played a festival together where I played as Russ's extra add-on guitar player. So we were all talking and laughing about that app. So I brought it back out and started using it again, and I announced one of their songs with the app, with
Yeah.
them, and just making all kinds of crude jokes. And we're still like we send each other Stephen Hawking app weird messages. Yeah, great bunch of guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great night. And I think I've mentioned this to you before, but you played La Villa that night. That's another instrumental with a great name, by the way. You played La Villa straight through for like 8 minutes, note for note. And it was one of the highlights of my concert watching career was watching you play La Villa.
Just skip to the end. All right.
Yeah, and it was one of those things that was just kind of holy shit, did he just do that by himself?
Yeah,
Like,
any old Rush song I could pull out of my brain and play every note of it. Yeah, yeah, that stuff is in my DNA. Yeah.
wow, amazing. Anyway, I don't want to keep you forever here. So let's just recap what we've talked about here. Brand new album, Bumblefoot Returns, coming out in about a week, less than a week now.
Yeah, January 24th is the date. Start shipping them out, and
Is it stressful when you're releasing an album, or is it just exciting?
at this point it's more exciting. The stress has been the past year of getting everything to this point. Yeah.
Right, but now it's just woo, it's finally here.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like the past year has been baking the cake, and now it's like, all right, finally get to eat it. Yeah.
right. Okay, so guests again include Steve Vai, Brian May, Guthrie Govan, Ben,
Harris,
yeah, Derek Sherinian,
Joey
and
Gaskill on drums, and the great Kyle Hughes on drums.
right, and no tour, but it is an absolutely brilliant album. I love instrumental guitar albums, and I hate comparing, but I'm gonna say This is the best instrumental guitar album I've heard since Passion and Warfare.
Oh God, wow. Thank you.
I love Passion and Warfare, by the way, but this one is it blew me away. It's so eclectic, so diverse. There's so much stuff on this that it just you got to keep listening. So everybody out there listening to this, oh my God, this is a masterpiece. It's
Thank you.
brilliant. Congratulations, man.
Thank you so much.
Really. Yes, congratulations again. Thanks so much for doing this. And hopefully chat soon and hopefully a one-off up in Ottawa or Montreal or somewhere
It
where we
would
can.
be wonderful, and I would love to see you again for sure. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Have a great one. Happy New Year.
You too. Have a wonderful, uneventful 2025.